Hey everyone, I'm Mind, and this is my review of set 71457, Pegasus Flying Horse from the LEGO Dreamzzz theme. Pegasus Flying Horse is a really funny name for a set, because it feels maybe a little bit redundant, considering the fact that a Pegasus is a flying horse. That's what a Pegasus is. Anyway, this set comes with 482 pieces, 3 minifigures, as well as 1 midi figure, and it retails for $49.99 in the US, as well as $52.99 in most places in Europe. This set does not officially release until August 1st, 2023, but it was sent to me early by the LEGO Group through the LEGO Ambassador Network, but all opinions expressed in this video are my own. Every LEGO Dreamzzz set includes some sort of alternate build, and I will be covering both builds in this video. So make sure to watch all the way through if you want to see how the different builds look. Also, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and let me know in the comments which LEGO Dreamzzz set you want to see an early review on next. I'll be doing early reviews of all the LEGO Dreamzzz sets, but I'm going to be doing the most requested ones first. So make sure to let me know which ones you guys want to see. But now let's get into the review. So here's the build of the Pegasus Flying Horse, and when these sets were revealed, this was one of my favorite sets of the wave. But now, having it built up, I have to say I am a little bit disappointed by this. I still really like the set. I think it's a fantastic set, but this feels like one of the rare cases where the set looks better on the box than it does in hand. And just to be clear, I'm not saying this is bad by any means. I still like a lot of aspects of this set, which we'll go through in just a moment, and I do still think it's genuinely quite good, but it's just not as good as I was hoping it to be. Starting at the head of the horse, it's almost got like this sort of skull design for the face. It uses what I believe is an all-new print on a 1x1 brick for the eyes, and you can see they use that same print on both sides. I actually think the sculpting on the entire head's pretty good. These open studs do maybe feel a little bit out of place, but because they're black, they're not like super obvious. And I do like the way they round off the face with the nose at the front, and these ears that come up at the back are pretty perfect. The Pegasus has like a little unicorn horn up here, and that can be moved ever so slightly. And then the entire head connects onto the neck with a mini ball joint. There's not a huge range of motion there, like there's a good bit, but comparing to like other brick-built creatures that we've gotten before, such as like the dragons and ninjago, this is definitely a bit more limited than what I've come to expect. And that's honestly my biggest issue with this set, is there's a lot of places in this set that just feel quite rigid. There's really not a ton of articulation in this figure, which is a shame, because I just wish there was more ways to display it. But yeah, the horse's neck has absolutely no articulation. You can't even rotate it from side to side. It's permanently stuck in place in this exact shape. And yeah, it's not a bad shape, but I just would have liked maybe a little bit more there, so you could do more with the expression than just move the head. And I guess with the head too, this doesn't have a mouth that opens up or anything, which like it doesn't need, but that's just another thing that other LEGO creatures have that this doesn't have, that kind of sets this apart in not the best way. Looking at the horse's actual neck though, I love these pieces for like the fur of the mane coming down. Those pieces work great as fur. They use them very similarly in the Imperium Dragon Hunter Hound from the latest Ninjago wave, but getting them in magenta is a great recolor and definitely pops so much on this build in the best way possible. Looking at the horse's chest, you can see there's some stickered parts to represent some more fur, and I do like the colors here. However, I feel like this back bit's very flat. I wish everything just felt a bit more cohesive and it was just rounder at the front. And then here we come to the front legs, and you can see they use the pipe pieces in black here, and a lot of the creatures in the LEGO Dreamzzz Wave do use these pipe pieces for limbs, and I do think they work quite well. However, I don't know if they were the best choice for this build. They don't look terrible, and they do sort of fit the whimsical vibes of Dreamzzz, but always being stuck at this like wavy angle is a bit awkward. Speaking of the articulation on the legs, these are on rigid Technic joints, so you can rotate them out like this or back in like this, as well as move them forward and move them back. That's the only point of articulation on the legs though, like the legs themselves can't swivel, and the feet can't move at all independently either. I suppose that makes sense for a horse, because I mean these are hooves, but that's just yet another thing that limits the posability on this build. I do really like how the base of the legs look. Again, they use those magenta fur pieces, and these stickers actually fit in really well here. The black with the magenta design on top looks fantastic. Then we come to the horse's body, which I love in concept and hate in execution. So they tried to have a little play feature with this right here, where of course this is a Pegasus, so it's gonna have wings coming off of it, and then there's also a little seat/saddle for the Nightmare King to sit. So the idea behind this was, oh, let's make the seat a detachable creature, so that way you can turn the Pegasus back into a normal horse by removing that, and then this guy with the wings becomes his own little dream creature. You got the eyeball at the front, the throne's still there, and then these 4 little legs for him to stand on. However, as I said, yeah, that's great in concept, not so great in execution. For one, these legs are way too tiny to ever stand up. With how massive these wings are, that's just really not gonna work. I do like the look of everything else though, with the eyeball and the throne, and these wing pieces are super cool. They fit the horse perfectly, and they're just an awesome new recolor for this wave. They do come in one other set, the Nightmare Shark ship. However, I'd wager to say they work even better on this set than on that one. The back of the chair can go down too if you want to do that. But yeah, the part I don't like is how this reconnects to the horse, because here's the horse with that removed. And I mean, yeah, it looks fine, but I definitely prefer for the Pegasus to be an actual Pegasus, especially because with the saddle off, the back looks very flat. So what you could do is attach that chair back on and then wrap the leg pieces around the chest of the horse to sort of give it like the skeletal ribcage design, which looks awesome. So what do I not like about this? Well, because the wings are so big and heavy, this is so easy to fall off. Chances are, if you're just trying to move the wings, it's going to take the entire chair with it. So basically, if you want to do any kind of posing, you have to have one hand down on the chair to make sure it doesn't fall off. And it's not even just with the wings. If you're just playing with this set, it's so easy for that to accidentally pop off, because the connection system's not super strong and this is so heavy of a build. Now, it most likely won't fix things completely, but you could probably help this issue by replacing this piece with the standard 2x2 plate. That would at least give this 4 studs to lock onto instead of just 2, because as cool as this looks, and as much as I love the idea of a little creature that can come off with the wings, this is like barely even connected and definitely hurts the entire build. But now, taking a look at the rest of the horse, I do love all the different round pieces used here, especially this jaggedness moving along the back. I think that works great. The tail of the back is another one of my favorite parts of this set. I think this looks incredible. They use all these different spike pieces that LEGO doesn't use all too often, and I believe magenta is all new recolors for this set too. These top 3 are rubber pieces. You can see this one can be moved ever so slightly, and the bottom 2 are hard plastic, and those are also on mini ball joints, so you can change how they look a little bit if you want. The entire tail itself is also on a mini ball joint, so you can change up how that's being posed. But this tail just looks super fluffy. I think it's incredibly well done. The back legs, just like the front legs, connect on with Technic joints, though they are a bit bulkier at the back, and I think that looks quite good. But yeah, pretty standard range of motion there. I like the stickered pieces on them with the little eyeballs. That obviously fits the whole Nightmare King vibe, and adds some good color to the horse. It also looks like the eyeballs are made out of fur, which is a fun touch. But then coming down, they use another pipe piece again, and I feel like that angles these back legs in a weird way. And when the horse is just standing up, I don't know, the back legs seem weird. But this is basically the only pose you can have with all 4 feet on the ground. Any other pose will have at least one of the feet slightly raised, because of course the feet themselves are connected to the legs, and there's like no posability there. But the design of the ankles is pretty much the same as the front, and as I said, I really like that. I think that looks fantastic. So yeah, posability on this thing is limited. Not because the connection systems are weak or anything, but just because there's so few joints. You could put it in really wacky stances like this, I suppose, if that's something you want to do. But yeah, I don't know. Poses like this do look pretty good. Like, I think that would look nice in display. It looks like the horse is running. But the options here are just so few and far between. The build's just very rigid. However, I could excuse all that. The biggest issue, though, is those wings. I really wish those connected better, because yeah, that system's just disappointing. I think that's about it for the main build of this set, though. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, every LEGO Dreamzzz set does have an alternate build. However, the alternate build in this set is actually only the side build. The Pegasus itself does not change at all between the 2 versions, so this is all I've got for the Pegasus, at least for now. So now let's take a look at the side build as well as the side build's alt build, then the instructions, then the minifigures, and then I'll give you my overall thoughts on everything. I was saying side build, but I should have been saying side builds, because there is actually 2 side builds in the set, starting with this one right here. Now, this is not one that has an alternate build. This is the same no matter what. But yeah, you can see it's this little nightmare creature cage guy. And there's similar builds to this thing in quite a few sets, but I really like these guys. They're just so much fun. You can see I've got a minifigure trapped in there right now, and she's held in by like all these teeth. And then this creature has these transparent pink wing pieces on the side, which these are all new for this wave. They do come in quite a few sets, including on the minifigure in this set. But it's nice to have another way to get them. Using these little tooth pieces for feet is adorable. And then of course the monster has this printed eye piece at the top, which is the same one that's on the chair creature. Not a ton else to say on this one, but this is creative and fun, and it's the exact kind of thing I like to see in LEGO sets. I'm quite happy with it. And then finally getting to the other side build, now this is the one that does rebuild in this set. We have like this little bird glider for Zoey. There's stickered pieces at the front for the bird's eyes, a little saddle where Zoey can stand in the center, and then there's like these 2 little tendrils coming off the back. I believe those are all new pieces for this wave. I don't recognize them from anywhere else. But what I definitely know is a new piece of like these fern pieces on the side right here. They're in teal in this set, and they do come in other sets in other colors. But yeah, they're just these huge leaves, and they're being used as wings here, and I think they work great. Each individual wing can be flapped up and down too to represent the bird flying, and the bird's head can be moved up and down too to change where it's looking. And then finally, here's how the bird looks with Zoey riding on top. Now that's about it for this version of this build, though as I said, it can be rebuilt. So if we take a quick look at the instructions, you can see everything is fully illustrated from the front. This looks gorgeous. The horse doesn't look anything like the model, because it's like completely organic here. There's like no bricks or anything. Same thing with the bird, and even the cage is like this very spectral thing. Just like the other Dream sets, there's little illustrations all throughout. And then here's the page where you can pick which side build you want to build. So we just saw the bird, so now let me rebuild this into the butterfly, and we'll take a look at that build too. And here's a look at the alternate build. You can see the bird just transforms into this butterfly flyer instead. And I mean, I guess this is a fine alternate option, but I definitely way prefer the bird. It is cool to have a back attachment for Zoey, but to put this on you have to take off her cape piece, and I think the cape piece just looks so cool on her. So personally, I much prefer the bird for her to be able to ride around on. The little antennae at the top are able to be articulated, and you can see the butterfly wings are on hinges. But yeah, I don't have a ton else to say on this build. It uses one of the transclear neck brackets to connect onto the minifigure. But speaking of minifigures now, let's take a look at the minifigures in this set. So here are the first 2 minifigures in this set. We have Zoey and we have Nova. Zoey's probably my favorite minifigure out of all the LEGO Dream sets. I was saying in a previous video how the Izzy minifigure is one of my favorite minifigures of this year, but I think I actually prefer the Zoey minifigure to the Izzy one. While this one might not be as detailed, the actual design here is phenomenal. First off, she's got an all-new unique cape piece around the back. It's a bit of a shorter cape and it's got this jagged leaf-like design. She's meant to be a bit of an archer, and I think that fits her perfectly. But then the torso print too. I love the teal scarf around her neck, all of these like little lavender leaves on her, and then she's just in this dark blue outfit with these gunmetal gray legs. It all ties in together so well with the yellow of her skin and also the purple of her bow and her hair. She's got a great face print too. She uses like metallic pink for her eyeshadow and her lips, and she has an alternate face too where she's a lot happier. Personally, I don't think this one fits her as well, especially knowing her personality in the show. I would have preferred an angry face compared to this one, but I do think that slight smirk fits her really well. And then she also has an all new hairpiece for this figure, and that's incredible too. There's so much texture to all of it, and I love the way it parts over to one side. And as I mentioned, purple is an incredible color and really helps her stand out. Taking a look at her back torso print, you can see it's very similar to the front, with lots of the same colors and aesthetics. And then in terms of accessories, she just comes with the standard LEGO bow and arrow piece, though of course it's in purple in this set, which I believe is an all new recolor. And then an hourglass piece, because yeah, this is LEGO Dreamzzz. And then Nova here is fine. Obviously nowhere near the same level of detail, but she's not meant to be. She's just meant to be a regular girl in pajamas. You can see she holds a carrot as an accessory to feed the horse, and her hairpiece is actually really nice. I like getting that in dark red. Taking that hairpiece off, you can see a somewhat generic female face print for her. It is all new for this set, so that's nice to see. And turning around, she does have an alternate face where she's sleeping, and there's how that looks with the hairpiece too. But yeah, Zoey is an amazing minifigure. Really like this one. I'm so happy she's included in this set. And then here's the final minifigure in this set, the Nightmare King, as well as the one and only minifigure in this set, Susan. The Nightmare King, though, I already covered in another review, but in short, he is fantastic. I really love his all new like molded hood piece that has this giant crown on top of the yellow eyeball that looks so ominous. But the coolest part about him for sure has to be this cape piece. It's got like all these little shadowy dragon faces coming out of it and little tears, and it looks like it's sort of blowing in the wind. Fits the idea of a Nightmare King so perfectly. His sword is an all new piece for this wave too. You can see it's still molded in black and trans pink, and it's got this little printed eyeball piece at the front right here. And yeah, that just has an incredible look to it. And then the rest of him just has a very skeletal look. I like how the eyeballs are all over this figure, including in the center of his torso. But then we have touches of the magenta too, as well as some dirty gray wraps. He's got like armored knee pads too, and then toes at the bottom, which are very freaky. If you're curious, there's what his back torso print looks like with the cape removed. You can see he's got like a spine and a bit of a rib cage. And there's his alternate face as well, where you can see his face is all wrapped up. And then looking at him from the front one last time, there's a full look at his face print. He's honestly kind of gross looking, but I think that's what he's supposed to be. So yeah, all around amazing minifigure, and I believe this is the cheapest set that he comes in. So all things considered, I am very happy to get him here. And then Susan, I feel like I've reviewed so many times on this channel already. She comes in a lot of sets this wave, but she is one of the Grimmspawn figures, and I love her design. She's got this all new spectral hood piece, which is dual molded in black and trans pink, as well as some like silver armor on her torso, and then around the back she has those trans pink wings that I mentioned before. Removing her hood piece, you can see her face print's just like a bunch of randomly placed eyeballs. And she does have a little bit of a torso print too, where she just has like some metal armor on and some pink spots. But yeah, another great minifigure. I believe this is also the cheapest way to get her, maybe? So getting both of these two in this set is fantastic, and I really love both of them. But overall, what are my thoughts on this set? Would I recommend it? I don't know. I am really split on this one. There's a lot of things I love about this set, and then other ones that I'm really disappointed by. Starting with a positive, the colors here are fantastic. I absolutely love the color scheme of this build. The wing pieces are amazing, and there are some really pretty parts of this build. The side builds in this set are really good too, and I think they're a lot of fun. But then the negatives, the posability on this thing is really limited, which like wouldn't bother me so much if everything else was perfect, but everything else isn't perfect. My biggest complaint with this set though is the whole chair thing and how loose it is. I really wish that connected better. However, I will say the minifigure selection in this set is fantastic. So while I like this set less now that I have it in hand, I still don't think it's a bad set. So I would not call it a must-have or like one of the best sets of the Dreamzzz Wave or anything. But if you want the Nightmare King and Susan for cheap, and you don't mind the worst parts of the set that I mentioned in this video, then I do think it's worth picking up. The price I feel is pretty solid. This feels definitely like a $40 build to me. But then when you consider the minifigures and the side builds too, 50 seems alright. So yeah, I am like a little bummed because this was my most hyped set of the wave and it's just not as good as I was hoping for. But all things considered, it is still a pretty good set. But of course, those are just my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think of this set in the comments below. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and let me know in the comments which LEGO Dreamzzz set you want to see an early review on next. But as for this video, I think that's about all I got to say, so thanks for watching everybody, I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!